I've got to be careful because today I've got a new Sharpie, but I've got my two old Sharpies over here. I don't want to mix them up because that could be a nightmare. Right, today's look is confused, very much is. We're back with my model Becki. I'm going to turn down the ambience today. I've got a heavy thunderstorm, so that should be fun. Very asymmetric picture. The theory is, if it's asymmetric, it doesn't need to look symmetric. Therefore, if it mismatches slightly, it should still look okay. That probably won't be the case. It'll probably look bad no matter how well I do it, but let's work on that. Now, I felt like I did really well the last couple of days with the way that I sort of, this is a straight on image, so it's basically that is the shape of the face. You consider that to be the bottom there, that's kind of the halfway point, and the eyes are just above it, so I feel like this light isn't quite aligned properly because I'm getting a lot more shadow on the paper than I normally do. But if that's the centre line right there, is that the centre? If the centre line is about there, yeah, that's about equidistant. That means that the nose should be about here. Now, here's the thing that I've done the last couple of days, is that I've essentially attempted to kind of sketch out the positions of objects before actually sort of drawing them in properly. So that's like a rough version of what I'm aiming for here. Sort of positionally, that's where all the various different bits should go. Maybe the mouth's a little low there because the mouth kind of comes up here. Get the eraser. Because the lips are kind of pulling upwards there for the weirdness that is this sort of asymmetric mouth position. So the nose, maybe reaching out here, we have a very clear line there actually where that kind of comes down and meets up with that at a sort of 45-degree angle down to the side of the mouth. Similar thing here, but that's slightly lifted up, so this, like this part of the face is kind of, like I said before, asymmetric. It's one side is lifted up, one side is not. So this is a much higher I don't have my little screen today, so this may be problematic with regards to the recording, but this just kind of goes like that. Oh, this is quite tight down here actually. This is comes in real close to that. This one has a kind of wider swoop to it. Kind of ends there still though. Is that too wide? I feel like that's too wide. I feel like that should be almost a little bit further in there. Now we have a little line there defining that, and where that hits this eye is where this curl comes down. And this eye is quite seriously narrowed. In fact, it's almost like a kind of and this one swoops up instead. Not too much though. It is a constant problem that I've had, that I make the eyes too large. So that corner is higher than that one because there's this big thing. And this eyebrow comes right down here and arches in. With this one, it has a downward inflection, but it kind of lifts up there. That's way too much of a downward inflection. And it is actually still quite close to the eye when you look at it. Like, I feel like these are actually too high, both of them. Because the bottom line of this literally almost touches the eye. And this sort of goes down to here. And this one here again comes down. Kind of an upward there, but then immediately, not at the same angle though, it's kind of like that. Yeah, and that sort of ends around there. In fact, that's not narrow enough because this literally closes down to nothing here in the corner. All of that is kind of inner eye crease, like the white of the eye is just that part. Right. So there's like a filtrum comes down like that. But it doesn't, the mouth has a sort of lift and then a swoop and then kind of over like that. Yeah, it's kind of up, down a bit and then up a little higher. The eraser. For all I know, this video, none of it might end up usable. So that kind of starts directly under there, and it doesn't start that low actually. I'm drawing it quite low here, but it sort of starts level, comes up quite steeply, then sort of almost flattens out, curve up to like there, and then down. And this line down here kind of marks the termination of it. It's almost a diagonal, that. So then we have this sort of in fact, that doesn't curve, that's almost a straight line. Straight up to there. And then disappears in there. But like as a mouth shape, it makes virtually no sense. But there is a chin line that comes like that. This, like it just sort of ends there. Like it's a lot closer to the bottom of the mouth. It's like, it's just like that. Okay, so clearly we can't have all of these lines on here. Something has to give. I feel like that's what has to give. We have to have that line there, this and this. Those are the only ones we can't do without. This one, I feel like it needs a little bit of that, but not all of it. And this one it literally just sort of exists for that purpose alone. And I'm not sure we need it. I'm going to do something quite bold on this picture. I'm going to say less is more. And I'm not going to define the lips quite so much. I'm just going to say that's a curve there. That is almost an angle, and that's a little curl down there. Yeah. See how risky that was, me using the eraser on the pencil instead of the... Now, see, the distance between the eyes seems to be the right kind of proportion, but this looks narrow, and I kind of would think it's just because that part there is shaded, and there's a shaded part there. And if you take that into account, it's the right size. So then we have a little kind of confusion line there. And that's kind of it. So, there is kind of a bulge to the face around there. Another, well, this kind of just comes straight here, doesn't it? So, down here and straight into a completely curved bottom chin. Completely curved. Hairline sort of takes over about here, actually. In a bit there, just above the eye for this. Sort of down here and links up there. No ears in this picture, so that's nice. Clear area of parting right there where this comes over this way. And this one sort of has a little wispiness here and then down here. Almost a straight line there. It kind of comes up and down. And that's where it breaks into the flow. Same thing going on here. Now you see, that looks like it bulges there, and it shouldn't. It should bulge here. That's the shape of the face. That outer curve is there, where the hair comes in. I wonder if we need that. It's kind of obvious there, but I'm not sure if we need it. Is it one of those that would look better as that technique I mentioned before? No, you see, that's going to look weird. Unless we do them this way. Again, that's going to look just weird. I need to do more research into that, showing a tiny area of shade on the face with a small amount of hatching. See, this looks like this is now all we can do. This is it. That's your lot. This kind of comes down here. That's hair. So yeah, that's the face. It certainly looks confused. Like this almost kind of comes all the way under. I'm going to take it to ink. Yeah. Right, so see, there's always a moment just after I've inked the whole thing where I'll look at it and say, oh, that's not right. And then I'll think, why didn't I fix it before if it wasn't right? Maybe I should take just an extra moment. Let's just step back for a moment and say, where is this not right? And the place it's not right is here, because this is too large a bulge for that. That's where this is wrong. This should only really come down to here. That's where that side of the face should be. That line is all wrong. Yeah. I need to make sure I capture this gap in the curl. If that curl comes up there and that one goes in there, that will capture that perfectly. And then this hair comes down and you have this sort of brighter sweep here with a few darker sections. And here this kind of splays out more than I've drawn. And this is dark all the way down to about here. And this is where it comes out. Yeah. That moment's indecision is probably going to have saved this picture. Or maybe ruined it, who knows. Right, let's go in and get the nose though, because that's the bit that's definitely correct. Feeling real confident about this nose. And also about this line here. This feels like a good line. In fact, the whole mouth situation I'm happy with. Maybe not quite so much that part, but we'll figure it out. Eyes also fairly happy. I feel like that curve needs to come down a bit more at the edge, but I can fix that now. So this is a very narrow eye, and it sort of curls down a little bit at the end there, which I didn't fully capture in the pencils. And this comes across here, like that. Now there's a kind of thickness to that there. And this has a little kind of, just a little curve before it comes into that part. This eye ooh, that was a bad line. That was a real bad line. But fortunately, there is a bit of extra eyelid there, so I'm going to use this opportunity to fix that line and pretend I intended it all along. The true way of the artist. Now, brows next or face shape? Let's do brows next. I feel good about these brows. And then this one, of course, that's way too scruffy for the for the brow that I've got, but I feel like if I just neaten these off, they'll look a bit better. Yeah, let's get the actual line of the eye. Right. See, there is a hint of ear here, but I'm going to subsume that into the hair because it's just it's bad for my mental health, I tell you. Right, so now let's work on the kind of top surface of this hair. This is going to have fairly large curls in this direction, and they swoop down and around to sort of here, because this part is coming up this way. Till around here where it starts to literally just swoosh down. We've got these sort of bigger curls over the top, which sort of take over from that. I've been watching a lot of wood turning videos recently, and there's a thing that one of the guys says, I think it's Wood Turning with Tim, is always saying, be careful because you can't put wood back on, and it's the same with this, is you can't take ink off the page. A little curl there, I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything with that, but this kind of comes down here. We have a few flyaway bits there, but it's mostly inward here. Where this part starts to stay dark while the other part lightens up a bit. It should come up here a little bit. We've got that. These little Yeah, I think I've done it again. I think I've made the eyes too large for the face. But there's a sort of curl here where it comes out, isn't there? Where that bit's darker and that bit's lighter. I think that's going to be it. I want so much to get that line in there. Shall I try and freehand it? That kind of works. Chin's too tall, should be a little more squat thinking about it. If you were to draw an oval around the chin there, it would end kind of there and that would come up a little bit less. But I think this is going to be all we can do. I need to add the lashes in because there's no semblance of that, and there is in the actual image. You can see a little bit of lash coming out just here. We're not quite that much. Yeah, I've overdone that arch, haven't I? Now, how to colour these eyes, because they are dark, and I want to capture that, but every time I've attempted to capture that, I have failed in some horrible way. Let's try again now. So there's kind of a light speck in there, which I'm going to represent with like a missing line. If I go around here like so, kind of, yeah. That line's not deep enough, that needs to be a little bit darker. I think this is getting ready to have the pencils erased. Yeah. Here's my... The problem is, I feel very discouraged by large empty spaces. Even though the face does contain large empty spaces. You see, this just as a curve there, was that it's a very clean, like in attempting to get the sway of the hair, I've just gone boo 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 and completely ignored this angle here where it should have. I got this one pretty well though. And I guess if you don't have the reference image to base it on, you never know, right? That's not just my my own internal bargaining saying that, right? That's correct. Without the original image, you'd never know. That just looks like a confused face, which it's meant to. So I'm going to notch this one up as a victory. That's right. Stacy won. World, well, 19, I guess. Oof. I want to do this one really, really well because although Becki wasn't involved in this, their partner Maya and me had a kind of disagreement tonight on WhatsApp about influencer culture and capitalism and whether there's such a thing as ethical consumption under capitalism. Which, don't get me wrong, there isn't, but some people choose to take that information and use it quite nihilistically, and so I can see where she was coming from. Extra details. There's that. And kind of a see the temptation here is to add that bit of lip in there, that sort of top part where it kind of follows the contour of this. But then if you add that in, you kind of have to add in that part, and I worry that's going to be too much. I worry that would be too much. I'm trying to, you probably can't tell, I'm trying to do a thing with my eyes here where I sort of attempt to blur them slightly so I can't tell the difference between the hard lines and the soft lines I've drawn. So if that was a real hard line there, it would look wrong. It would. Now I've got to erase that, and it's never going to fully go, is it? Oof. Ugh. The horrors. The absolute horror of it all. One tiny change. If I can find the pen. This line does actually continue beyond the mouth. Down to there. Yeah, that sells that a bit better actually. Yeah. Glad I added that. And that's it. That is done. I'm calling it done. Tomorrow was going to be a request day, but nobody's made any requests, so I'm treating it as my own request day. And I'm doing the ultimate face. Anyone who knows me will know what the ultimate face is. So look forward to that tomorrow. See you then.